Indianapolis. The drought is no longer, and Spiderman lives on. To cap a chaotic, pass-happy Indianapolis 500 Sunday afternoon, Helio Castroneves gave the 135,000 race fans a gift to make up for their absence at the greatest spectacle in racing 1 year ago. The longtime Team Penske driver, who won this race in 2000, 2001 and 2009, delivered his new team Meyer-Shank Racing its first ever victory by holding off Chip Ganassi Racing's Alex Palou on the final lap to secure his fourth Indianapolis 500 victory. The win puts Castroneves in one of IndyCar racing's most illustrious clubs. He joins A.J. Foyt, Al Unser Sr. and Rick Mears as the only drivers to win the Indy 500 4 times in the race's 105-year history. At 46, Castroneves, who doesn't have a full-time IndyCar Series ride this season, is one of the oldest winners of the 500 in the race's history. Al Unser was just shy of 48 when he won in 1987. "I only ran 2 races and I won 2 races. I think I still got it, don't you think?" Castroneves said from Victory Circle. "The old guys still have it," a euphoric Castroneves said in Victory Circle. Castroneves passed Spain's Alex Palou on the closing laps and barely held on at the Yard of Bricks as the IMS crowd roared with excitement. Felix Rosenqvist, Junior Hildebrand and Takuma Sato ran far ahead up front with 20 or so laps to go, but both needed a late yellow flag in order to make it home without another stop and steal the victory. Without one, Castroneves worked around Palou with 7 laps to go to take the lead after the pair swapped spots back and forth several times in the final 50 laps or so. Load error, but Palou, who crashed his car Saturday during a second qualifying attempt, came back around with 5 to go. With 2 laps to go entering turn 1, Castroneves, driving for Meyer-Shank Racing driver and running his first race of the year, took the white flag. Castroneves ran into lap traffic, giving the Ganassi driver a shot to make a move on the front stretch as the two ran to the line. But Castroneves would not be stopped. He won by just under a half second. Overjoyed, Castroneves immediately leapt out of the car and darted for the fence to make the spider-like climb he made famous 2 decades ago. After he was joined by team co-owner Mike Shank, Helio sprinted down the track, overcome by emotion, soaking up the fans' return to IMS. Palou finished second, 2019 winner Simon Pagenaud came home third, and Pato O'Ward and Ed Carpenter rounded out the top 5. Santino Ferrucci finished 6th, followed by Sage Karam, Rinus VK, Juan Pablo Montoya and Tony Kanaan. With drivers all mixed up on pit sequences, Graham Rahal, last year's third-place finisher, took over the lead for the Rahal-Letterman-Lanigan team, who won a year ago at IMS with Takuma Sato. But 4 laps later, just moments after Rahal pitted, his left rear tire spun clear off the axle as Rahal accelerated out of the pits around turn 2. The issue sent the 32-year-old spinning straight for the safer barrier, his tire still rolling around on track. Connor Daly, just a few laps after a significantly slow stop took him off the front, struck the tire with his nose cone. The number 47 Ed Carpenter Racing Chevy, which led 40 laps during the first half of Sunday's race, luckily didn't suffer extreme damage and was able to carry on, but the miscue from his team and dose of bad luck mired him outside the top 10 by race's end. Stephen Wilson's return to IndyCar and the Indianapolis 500 after a 3-year absence ended unceremoniously on lap 33. Darting into pit lane for his first stop of the day, Wilson appeared simply to misjudge slowing down for the pit lane. The Andretti Autosport driver, who started 28th Sunday, slammed on the brakes, locked up his tires and subsequently lost control. Wilson's number 28 car took an almost immediate hard right directly into the pit lane wall, bringing out the day's first caution. What's more important, though, was the timing. Drivers, including race leader at the time Rinus VK, began pitting on lap 30, and the placement of Wilson's crash meant a closed pit lane while the Armor safety team attempted to clean up the mess. By lap 36, Sunday's pole sitter Scott Dixon was running on fumes and forced to pit for emergency fuel. Alexander Rossi, who started 10th, was forced to do so 1 lap later. But their cars were so low on fuel that they stalled when stopping on pit lane. Both contenders lost significant time, as their teams tried to refire their cars and then make an extra stop to fully refuel. In all, the disaster put both cars 1 lap down. Without another caution called in the rest of the first half of the race, it destroyed any realistic hope either had of aiming for an epic comeback. Dixon managed to unlap himself by lap 121, and with 50 laps to go, the 2008 Indy 500 winner had worked his way up to 20th. With 40 laps to go, the New Zealander had retaken the race lead and pitted from the lead on lap 162. With Dixon off sequence from a majority of the field, Dixon's strategist, CGR managing director Mike Hull, elected to try and make the rest of the race without another stop, meaning they'd have to fuel save pretty heavily and hope for another caution if they hoped even to make it to the end or have a shot at trying to battle for the win. With the race running green to the end, Dixon finished outside the top 10. That early stall in pit lane signaled Rossi's demise. The driver of the number 27 Honda simply couldn't weave his way through slower cars on the lead lap as quickly as Dixon, and Rossi finished outside the top 25.